Hello, welcome to Majestic Words Podcast. I'm Giovanna.
And I'm Reneyywaters.
And we're going to talk about battling depression while in a relationship.
Ooh.
Yeah, so first things first, I think you need to acknowledge that you have depression because a lot of the times we don't realize that we are depressed and we go in relationships hoping that somebody can fill that void in our lives. And now we're dragging them in our turmoil and we don't even have ourselves figured out. And so then you're projecting all those emotions and feelings on that other person, and it's really an internal thing. Have you ever experienced talking or being serious with somebody who was depressed?
Yeah, so I feel like, let me stop this. While I was in a relationship, in the beginning, they say that it's the honeymoon phase, right? I've been in relationships where I went through the honeymoon phase, and I feel like once it started to get hard, my partner didn't, he kind of fell out of, he just didn't understand the concept of me going through the emotions. We're women, right? Mm-hmm. So women do go through emotions. We have hormones. We have so much things going on with our body. Not just saying that that's what it is, but we're more of a sensitive, emotional creatures, which is why, to bring it back to the Bible, which is why God brought Eve for Adam. Is to support him, and then for all these other reasons too. I'm not thinking biblically right now, y'all, so don't attack me. Mm-hmm. But, we're here to be your emotional support person. So, but it's also needed back. So back to the concept. I didn't experience depression until I got a little bit more comfortable in the relationship, and I started feeling comfortable with being able to tell him, what was going on with me. And my depression got worse, believe it or not, when I felt like he didn't understand where I was coming from. So it was like, I'm battling depression, things are going on in my life. And then when I have my partner, he's also not understanding what I'm going through. So it makes you even more depressed, and it actually makes you feel like nobody's there for you. So, I did battle that concept of depression, and unfortunately, it's up to you whether you're willing to stay and help teach that person, how to cope with your depression while you're in a relationship, and hopefully, they're able to help you respond in a positive way. But I did go through the aspect of the depression was just beating me up. I just didn't know what to do. So
you're saying you didn't know how to express yourself to your partner?
I didn't know how to express myself to my partner. But also, even when I did express myself, he didn't, it felt like I was getting more depressed. Because it's like, okay, I understand what you're going through. Everybody goes through stuff like that. And it's
no real empathy.
Yeah, it's no real empathy. But, it made me even more depressed. It was like, dang, well, if I can't, we don't always want to share everything with our parents because, we're human too. We have business that they don't need to always know about. That's just me personally. Don't get me wrong. I have a great relationship with my mom and my parents, but I do feel like they don't need to know when I'm about to step right onto North and West Street. You know what I'm saying? It's just not, I don't feel like they need to know everything, but, with your partner, you should be able to express that with them. So I just felt like, men need to be more empathetic to women and need to realize that, we do go through things, and learn how to support a woman when she's going through depression.
So I've actually experienced it vice versa. Mm-hmm. So I was dating a guy who was severely depressed, and he wasn't very good at expressing himself. Mm-hmm. I guess similar to what you were saying. I don't know if he didn't trust me. I didn't know if because he was a man, because he did say to me, it was more so about money, how I feel like he was depressed about a money situation. And basically he was saying, a woman can go to a bar and a man will buy her a drink, but a man can't do that. A woman can put Cash App in her Instagram bio and people will send her money, but a man can't do that. So I think he was just comparing himself to, he was basically trying to say, your depression and my depression are not comparable because we experience things differently. We don't go through the same things. And so with him, it was very difficult for me to be there for him because one, we weren't exclusive. So I'm just like, why am I trying to help you. How can I really help you if you're not honest with me? And I know it's difficult to be honest with somebody that, you know, you're still getting to know. But if that's the case, sometimes I feel like you need to just take a step back and say, I need to be alone. Because all he did was just like, I really cared about him. So all he did was like drag me in that in a way. And I didn't want to leave him in that moment because I didn't want to make him feel like I was leaving him because of a money situation. Because you know how what he explained to me. So I realized that I started losing myself and setting aside how I felt, because if I was going through something, it was like his situation was always worse than mine. And so it never felt like he hurt me. I always felt like I had to push aside how I felt and just be there for him. And especially because in today's society, you know, like as women, like I'm not doing that no more, but as women, a lot of times we try to be nurturers to men, and we put aside our feelings a lot of the times for them. And if you can't reciprocate the same energy that I'm giving you, empathy, care, love, then you don't need to be in this, because now you're draining all my energy, and I'm giving all my energy to you, trying to be there for you, and I'm not getting anything back. And then what am I left with? Emptiness, you know? Like, so it's exhausting. It's really exhausting. And have you been on the opposite side of that? I know you said you experienced it, like you were going through a depressive state while you were dating. But,
what, like pushing somebody away?
Well, more so the man being depressed.
No, I haven't, because I am a hard lover, and sometimes people can, you know, sometimes that could be too much for a man. So I think that I honestly do think that I get more depressed when I feel like I'm not receiving the same love back too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't know. You ever like, I don't know. It's like that feeling. It's like, dang, I ain't getting it back. So does it kind of like suppress you, like make you sad or depressed sometimes too?
Yeah. In that situation.
So I ain't crazy.
It definitely did, because I was just like, how can we move forward? And so my thinking was, I'm not thinking about the now. I'm thinking about the future. If every time you go through something that is traumatic to you or devastating or you're confused about, if we are exclusive, if we are together, how do I know that you're not going to push me away, be absent-minded every single time that you go through something difficult? Because some people go through depressive cycles in seasons. Some people go through depressive cycles just randomly. And it's like, how can I be there for you and receive the same care and effort I'm putting in from you if you are unpredictable? And I understand that people go through things all the time. I'm not discrediting how somebody feels, but in my personal opinion, if you're not emotionally stable, if you're not seeking help from professional help about your depression, you do not need to be in a relationship. That's just my personal take on it, because it's not fair.
But sometimes you feel stuck too. It's like, okay, well, we already got this thing going on, so how can I help you, you know, get yourself together? So I've been put in that scenario where it's like, okay, well, we're already here, so how can I help you just build yourself back up? And then, you know, maybe we can make the decision of leaving each other alone. Let me give y'all some tips on how to fix this depression.
Do you think it also depends on the status of not the status, but more so how much you care about? Because some people you might be more invested in than others, so you might be okay with sticking around longer compared to other situations. So, but what are your tips?
I feel like having an opening ear and listening to somebody is definitely important, because when you're, okay, say for example, when you're in a relationship and you're battling depression and your partner's not listening to you, you seek somebody else. So I do feel like having just when you go seek somebody else, that person has a listening ear, right? So I do feel like your partner definitely does need to listen. But I mean, you do that, right? Like, I mean, not saying that you do that, but it's not considered like cheating. It's not considered, you know, looking. I mean, it's not considered cheating. It's just like having a bro or sis. I mean,
listen.
Okay, look. I actually have a bro, like a guy that's a friend, and that's okay too. Just
A lot of
saying.
men are not okay with that.
And a lot of men are not okay with it, but I mean, let's be real. So when you guys have a wedding, what you gonna have all girls show up because that's all you know, because that's all your partner likes.
True.
So it's kind of like, come on, like let's have a little bit of maturity. What do you think?
I think we need to understand that everybody doesn't think the same as us. And sometimes we need to break things down to our partners so that they can understand how we feel. Because let's say I've never been depressed before, and my man is depressed. He needs to be okay with explaining that to me. And I understand sometimes when you are depressed, you don't have the energy to do that. But if you want me to be there for you in full capacity, in a way to support you in a way that you need to be supported, I have to be able to comprehend just a tad bit of what you're going through so I can give you the correct support.
Yeah, that's true. All right, well, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time.